Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Smart Trucking Live. Glad you guys could all join us today. We always look forward to Wednesdays because streaming is our favorite thing. I'm glad you guys enjoy it and come and visit us. Hamish K, on time, yeah, baby. Hey, Hamish, how are you doing? Man Superpower TV, here for the first time. Welcome, sir. Glad you could join us. Trucker Hershey just landed, just threw out the anchor. He's tuning in. Hey, Trucker Hershey, how are you doing? Kelly Patterson's here. Kelly, how are you? And Josh Bulldog. And before we go any further, we have a special announcement that includes Josh Bulldog. Josh, I'm sure you're aware of this already, but Mack Trucks is celebrating their 100th anniversary in Canada. And when I read that announcement, I thought immediately of you. So congratulations, Josh, and congratulations to Mack Trucks. That's quite a milestone. So there's something for you, Josh. Garrett Burns is here. Hello from South Dakota, Garrett. How are you doing? Cassius Puckett, how are you doing, sir? 1 day at a time, 1 mile at a time, he says. Yes, I know how that is. Glad you could join us, Cassius. Beast Nips. Yeah, Nippa. Hi, sir. How are you? James Stemler. Glad to see you guys. Glad to see you too, James. Thank you for joining us. SoCal Sandman is here. I had a question about, I was going to ask him later on in the stream, SoCal Sandman, but we'll get to that a little later. Let's just get everybody in here and get everybody rolling. So glad you guys could all join us. It's kind of a quiet week in trucking, which is nice for a change. No tragedies, no earth-shattering news. So glad you guys could all join. There's Michael Mueller. Good afternoon from FedEx in Greenwood, Indiana. Michael, glad you could join us. William from Texas. Hey, William, how are you? Shannon's here. Hey, Shannon. I'll probably miss the last Wednesday of May and the first Wednesday of June. My daughter's getting married. Congratulations. Well, that's a big event, Shannon. Congratulations to you and your daughter for that. That's a big day.
John M., thank you very much for the 5. I'm not really sure what you meant in your comment there, so if you want to specify in chat, feel free to and let me know. But anyways, thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate it.
Mole 646, thank you for joining us. Martin Montano is here from Aztec, New Mexico. That's beautiful country down there. Christian Nelson is here. Hello from Dumpster Hauler in Colorado. You guys are still getting snow out there. I was watching that on the news the other day. Still snowing. Mole 646 in Flowood, Mississippi. So, we're just going to have a Q&A today. So, throw your questions in as the case may be, as the need hits you, and we'll do our best. Ross, hello from Iowa. Hey, Ross. I see that they actually managed to hold the first live truck show. It wasn't a virtual truck show. They had it last week down in Wildwood, Florida. So kind of nice to see real truck shows coming back again. I just couldn't get into those virtual truck shows. So I'm certainly glad to see that starting to happen again. Cloud Night Table, Holland, Michigan, not too far away. Beast Nippa, please say my name once. Beast Nippa, there you go, sir. Michael Mueller says today we're talking about how much Dave loves Volvos. You know what? They're starting to grow on me. I don't know how else to say it. They're starting to grow on me. Where was it I saw the other day? I think the problem up here is that they're all white. So that's always bothered me. But they're more of a fleet truck up here, and turns out that's not the way it should be. What else do I want to? James Stemler. 2 days into the Blitz and haven't been into an open scale house yet. let alone inspected. Lucky hitting the scales when they're closed. James,
What's in that bottle?
that's the best way to have it. I was always fairly lucky when it came to those inspections. In the later years, I just would sit them out, but I never really had any big issues with any of the inspections. So, but half of it's luck and half it's getting the right guy or the wrong guy. Hey, there's Chef Matt. Chef Matt, welcome. How are you doing? Are there any other restaurant personnel in this lounge? Said, I don't know.
I just told him I was here.
Oh, okay.
There was a good comment.
Here's Philip has a question. How can we educate the public about driving safely around trucks? I'm tired of drivers complaining about four-wheelers, but not doing anything to educate them. That's a really good question. First off, I'd like to say that I don't think it should be up to us to have to educate the four-wheelers. I think the Ministry of Transport should be doing that. I think it should be part of their mandatory driver test. I think four-wheelers should be tested regularly as well as truck drivers, not just the truck drivers. I think four-wheelers need to be tested as well. But it's a real problem for truck drivers. Everybody in the trucking industry knows it, that four-wheelers really aren't tuned to paying attention to the trucks. They're not aware of the kind of damage a truck can do to them and how quickly it can happen. It's a huge gap in our system, and I think it should be up to the Ministry of Transport to do something about it. The Department of Transport. That's where they're lacking. You know, they like to chase us down for our safety records, but over 94% of the accidents are caused by the four-wheelers. And I don't know why they target us and pull us into scales, but just, it's a serious hole in, when they talk about safety, serious hole in the whole safety business. Scranton Shaker, do you think it's smart to go independent? I have 8 years experience flatbed heavy haul, want to buy a truck and a flatbed. Scranton Shaker, it was the best move that I ever made, frankly, going independent and buying my own trailer. Those were the best years of my trucking career. I made better money. I enjoyed myself more. I recommend it. I truly do, because there are enough people in this industry trying to take money out of your pocket. So the more of the middlemen you can eliminate, the better it is. Get yourself a couple of good direct customers and just go trucking, and you will not be sorry. That's my advice anyway. John's leaving Montana and going back to Pennsylvania. There's a trip that'll take a couple of days. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. All sorts of outfits apply for exemptions from the hours of service from the FMCSA. So here's an interesting one. The fireworks haulers want an exemption, an annual exemption. The American Pyrotechnics Association wants an exemption so they can, when it comes to July 4th weekend, they can just run nuts trying to get the fireworks to these different places and set them off. I don't understand why they couldn't just ship a little earlier and sooner, get a little more organized, but they feel they need an exemption from the hours of service.
Hamish, thank you very much for the £5, my friend. Saw a Kenworth W900 and a Pete 379 hauling flatbeds when I was with my friend in his DAF lorry last week. We both had our jaws wide open. Thank you very much for the £5, Hamish.
That's kind of an unusual sight where we are, Hamish. Is that not the case? I bet you that doesn't happen very often over there. That's kind of cool.
That's why he had his jaw open.
Is the Peterbilt 389 one of the most American trucks? That's from Josh. Josh, I'd have to say that certainly it is one of the few purely American trucks. When I think of American trucks, I think of Kenworths and Pete's. Way stations have been closed in northern PA today because of the rain. That's from Philip. Well, the timing's good for that, huh, Philip?
Captain Nice Guy coming in with the 20 beans. Thank you very much for the donation, my friend. Not able to catch all the stream today since I'm on the road, but while I'm stopped, I just thought I'd say hi, everyone, and hope you have a great day. Well, thank you very much for the donation, Captain, and hi to yourself, and we hope you enjoy your, what would it be? I guess it's not a shift. It'd be a trip today. Hope you enjoy your trip. Have a safe trip, rather.
Appreciate you dropping in to say hi, Captain. Nice guy. That was good of you. Drive carefully. Arctic Wanderer. Just got my knowledge test. Anyone knows about any trucking schools in the Mississauga area that have payment plans? I don't, sir, but we'll keep the survey open here. Maybe someone else does. I personally am not, unfortunately. Michael Mueller says, I've noticed more people doing stupid crap like brake checking big trucks since those billboards went up. Isn't that an interesting coincidence? I believe it too. Some people can just be fools. Just, I don't know. Just escapes me. There's Mole 646. He likes the Mac E6 and the E7 there, Josh. Good trucks. Wow, I'm not even going to try to say that, but there's a PACCAR fan forever. Glad to hear that. Brake checking a truck makes about as much sense as trying to fist fight your house. SoCal Sandman. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right.
Kelly coming in with the 10 beans as well. Thank you very much for that. Fatigued driving and high explosives. What could possibly go wrong there?
Yeah, there's a good point. There's exactly the kind of load you'd want to be in a hurry with and driving tired. A load of explosives. SoCal Sandman, I wanted to ask you, I believe, did you not tell us at one point that you lived in California and moved out of there with your truck and you're trucking up now through Indiana? I know you are these days, but were you not in California at one time? Let us know, because I was looking at this AB5 is going on and on and on. And I got to thinking, I wonder how many guys would actually leave and move to keep their trucking jobs, but just to get out of California because they're going so crazy there. And I don't know if that was the case with you, SoCal Sandman, but I'd like to know. You know, it's this AB5 thing's going to go on for another couple of years yet, but still. I finally got my first load hauling oversized logging equipment yesterday. Matthew Thomas, how did it go? I hope that went well. That's not an easy thing to do. That's a challenging load, so I hope that went well. I'm guessing that it did, but congratulations. Good for you, sir. Do I still own a 379 Cat 475? Yes, I do. I got some work to do to it next week here if it ever quits raining here. I got a few things to do, but she's pretty much ready to get back on the road. The batteries are back in it, and she's running and stuff. I've got a few issues I want to attend to, like tightening the fan belts, and I've got one tranny cap I've got to replace because it's seeping and leaking, and I want to replace do an oil change and replace the fluids in the tranny and the defs. But other than that, she's ready to go. I'm looking forward to my first drive. Looking forward to bringing it home and washing it. Captain Nice Guy says he's on 2 wheels today. On 2 wheels? Wow. Be careful. SoCal Salmon says he lived there for 22 years in California. And did you leave because of the job, or you just got sick of the state? I'm just being nosy. Grilled Mortal, there was a load of dynamite that blew up on Highway 17 west of Sudbury years ago. What a blast. Wow. Do you remember that, Kathy? I don't remember that, but holy cow. Michael Mueller says he only went to California once in his career as a driver. I ran a lot of California. I really liked going to California, but I went in and out, and I never had to put up with some of the crappy parts of it. I'm sure it has crappy parts, but I was lucky. I was always up in Salinas loading lettuce or something like that. GP Transco. Thank you for joining us. Currently ordering massage chairs for our driver's lounge area. Holy smokes. I got to go work there. They got everything over there. Driver's massage chairs. I could use one of those. I could use one of those every day. Kelly Patterson says, I like the scenery and the weather in California. Yes, Kelly, I'm with you there. And it's such a diverse state because you've got mountains, you've got desert, you've got coastline. It is a beautiful state. Christian Nelson. I didn't really mind going to California. The only thing is when I got to LA area, I would always have a sore throat from the smog. I guess that's becoming more and more of a problem there, which is sad to say. And that's why they're clamping down on the truck emissions and stuff like that. I see now there are lawsuits in California over their emissions regulations. They're having issues with they've had a couple of big fires due to the DPF filters regenning to the point where they got so hot the truck caught fire and the grass and the trees caught fire. Nathan Phillips, what is the biggest piece of equipment that you have? Oh, just the Peterbilt, and I've still got a 53-foot dry box. I use it for a storage trailer anymore, but yeah, just the 379. SoCal says he does miss California though. It is a beautiful state. Hey, Fred Besnemer is here. Hey Fred, how are you doing? Glad you could join us. SoCal Salmon says used to love to drive up and down 99. Yeah, me too. Kathy and I at one point we had thought about going up and touring the Napa Valley with a car, like renting a car. It was one of those things that we wanted to do and never did get around to doing. And now after COVID, we probably never will. But yeah, California can be a beautiful state. Hamish K, sad to see beaten up R model side cab Mac downtown, but it was still running. Those were tough old trucks. They still have them here for cement mixers and dump trucks and stuff like that. R models, God, one of the toughest old trucks I ever drove was an R model. That thing, 40 below, that thing would fire up every day. What a good old truck. Trucker Hershey, yes, he did say massage chairs. No, for the truckers' lounge, Hershey. For the trucks. That'd be nice in the trucks, but no, they're in the lounge.
Sleeping at the wheel.
yeah. Kathy says you'd be sleeping at the wheel if you had a massage chair in the truck. I miss California. This is Matthew Thomas. I miss California too. Running chicken to Livingston, washing out of Salina and running to Oxnard to pick up lemons. Yep, I know that area well. Derek Master says he likes his Ohio to PA run every day. So yeah, you'd be home every night. There's a lot to be said for that. Kelly Patterson says those Santa Ana winds are like fans to a fire combined with all that dry foliage in the summer. Yeah, Kelly, I know they can have some nasty grass fires there. Every summer they seem to have them. You know, and they're so concerned about air pollution in California, but those grass fires contribute terribly to the poor air quality condition out there. But they don't seem to be able. They're trying to think of ways to prevent that, but no luck yet. Dave, can we fire up your truck on a live? Do we have that kind of technology, Nick? Can we take the equipment out there to the truck?
Can we start the truck live? Yes.
Nick says we have the technology. As soon as the weather clears. Oh yeah, we can do it. Yeah, okay. As soon as we get a nice day and I get the truck washed up, yes, absolutely we can do that. She's a healthy sounding girl. Anyone that likes trucks will like the sound that thing makes. Those old cat engines didn't sound like anything else. Grilled Mortal says some Volvos have massage chairs. Only he says message chairs.
You missed one.
What did I miss?
What's one piece of advice you would give a guy who's just starting out in trucking?
I've got lots of advice.
What's the
I'd
question?
I'd
Say
I'd
the question.
ask around.
Say the question.
What's one piece of advice I would give a new driver starting out in trucking? I would ask around to different truck drivers that you met and find out who a good trucking company is to work for. That is the key to having a good career, is working for a good company, a good carrier. Find out, take the time and find out who the good carriers are. Don't go to the mega carriers. Find a good carrier in your area and go to them. Very important. That's my best piece of advice. Find the right carrier.
Raphael, thank you very much for the $20 donation, my friend. Thank you, very generous. Do you think it's a good idea to aspire for a long career in trucking, or should we all learn how to code and fix computers? If you want my personal advice, I would definitely go with the second option, because that will be a career, a fulfilling one, and a well-paid one at that for a long, long time. But I will let the other side present their counter argument here, so go ahead.
That's a tough question. You know, I really enjoyed my trucking career. It's a good career with the right carrier. I understand that you know, it's probably easier work to learn how to run computer software and stuff like that. But if you're the kind of guy that just has to get out from the office,
Easier how?
it wouldn't be for you.
Dave.
Yes.
Easier how?
It's easier because it's easier on your body. You don't have to put in 70, 80, 90 hours a week. You don't have to live away from home. You don't have to eat truck stop food. It's easier.
Sit in your armchair.
Yeah. So there was a comment there. I want to get
21DA Baber. Hope I'm saying that right. Thank you very much for the 5 beans. Hey, what advice do you have to a new owner operator? Just got my authority yesterday. Thank you and stay safe. Love seeing your content. Thank you very much for the $5.
My first piece of advice, now that you have your own authority, is to go seek out a direct customer and just service the heck out of them. Be their best friend. Just bend over backwards, do whatever you can for them. As long, you know, make sure you're pricing yourself and your services fairly and honestly. You want to be making money at this, but it should be a win-win. But get yourself a direct customer. That is my first piece of advice for a guy with his own authority. Michael Mueller says, I miss going to Montana and Idaho out west. Yeah, it's pretty out there. I always like those two states as well. I became a truck driver to prove my teacher wrong, who told me I'd never find a job where I got paid to sit down and look out the window all day. Michael Mueller. You showed her. Good one. Dalton Nelson. What do you think about a 22-year-old buying an old truck to start out on my own? Know some good people that could get me on flatbed loads. I've been flatbedding since I was 13. Dalton, if you have some mechanical background or mechanical skills, and especially if you happen to know the history of the truck, and you're gonna, I would, if you're gonna run an old truck, I try to run it, you know, short, run it closer to home. But that's where the money is these days anyway, especially in flatbedding. But yeah, stick close to home. Get yourself an old girl that you can figure out inside and out mechanically. Yeah, I'd be all for that. All sorts of guys spend their entire career doing that type of work and really enjoy it. What do I think of the Western Hamish? What do I think of the Western Star 49X? I have traditionally liked Western Stars. They're a heavier truck, more steel in them in the construction, but I like the Western Stars. I picked up a new one in 1979 in Cologne at the factory, and I've liked them ever since. God, that was a beautiful old girl. So no, I like the Western Star. In which trucking company were you at the start of your trucking journey? Yeah. I worked for like a couple company. There was a company. I guess I'd have to say I started in Simpson Sears, and I started there, and then I went to like a small pool company and hauled supplies for them. I had a couple of little jobs there, and finally when I got out of school, I went out west and worked for a company named Richardson Transport out of Calgary hauling fuel. But initially I started with Simpson Sears, which was just the Canadian version of Sears, the American Sears. And I was doing yard shunting and stuff like that for them, local delivery stuff, just to get my feet wet. But I had the urge to go long, and so I went out west.
Raphael with another $5 donation. Thank you very much for that, Raphael. What do you think of the Volkswagen buying Navstar? Are you expecting positive change for international? Should we expect Scania engines and tech?
Good questions. The answer to the first question, I expect good things for international with their acquisition from Volkswagen. Volkswagen's a massive company. They've got all sorts of money, and international certainly needs a leg up these days. They were a good company that just has been floundering the last number of years. So I expect good things. I'd like to see international come back strong. They were a really good truck at one time. Should we expect the Scania engines and tech? I sure hope so. In fact, there's talk about Scania marketing some of their trucks in North America, and I'd be all for that. I'd just love to drive one of their trucks. They make a new 700 horse plus engine though these days. I'd like to stick that in one of their new trucks and give that a try. I think that'd be awesome. Lee Harvey, how are you doing, sir? I miss sitting out in Salinas at Taylor Farms for 6 to 8 hours for 2 pallets. Well, Lee Harvey, you're obviously a reefer hauler, because anyone that pulls produce out of that area knows what that's like. I spent a fair bit of time at Diorigo Brothers. I think probably more than any place, and they were usually pretty good. And I usually put on most of my load there, but yeah, you get the occasional thing. I used to sit in where they get those Bunny Love carrots down outside of Bakersfield. I used to sit there for a few hours for a couple of pallets once in a while. Grilled Mortal, whatever happened to Grant? I'm not sure who you're speaking of there, Grilled Mortal. No, Chef Matt, I did not catch your question a minute ago. Let me scroll back, see where that went. This thing rolls so quickly, I have trouble. Heavy duty diesel mechanic versus heavy hauler for 110 pound wiry guy. I got to think about that.
Do what you want to do.
Yeah, whatever appeals to you more. Heavy haul is pretty lucrative still these days. Might be easier on your body in the long run rather than the diesel mechanic job. Most of the diesel mechanics seem to end up having trouble with their bodies when they get to my age. You might want to go for the heavy hauler deal. That'd be my recommendation, I think, because there's really good money in it. Still, one of the few niches that has really good money in it. Thanks for getting back to me there, Chef Matt. I had missed it. It had scrolled by me before I caught it. Lots of stuff does. It moves too quickly here. Any updates on American Truck Simulator for your first social media account? Let me direct that question to Nick.
No, we ordered the new computer.
Nope.
It hasn't arrived yet.
No, we had to order a new computer for it, and it has yet to arrive, I'm told. So there's the update on that. I'm kind of looking forward to that thing myself. Grilled Mortal, did I find out who Grant was? Michael Mueller, Volkswagen's already building trucks in Europe, but buying Navistar can only be an improvement. Yeah, Michael. Well, they were, they were a good truck years ago, but they fell by the wayside, and then that one SCR engine they decided to bet the farm on just fell right on its face, and the EPA just took them to the cleaners with fines and stuff. So, and they never really did recover from that. Every other ad I see is for the new Volkswagen electric car. Are they going to make electric trucks also? I'm Trucker Hershey. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. And if anyone can compete with Tesla, it'll certainly be Volkswagen. I wasn't aware that they were getting into electrics, but everybody is. So I'm sure that they'll produce one, and I'm sure it'll be a good one. Mike, where did that thing jumped on me again? I lost the question there. I'm right at the bottom of the scroll. I heard that Scania engines were made in the 60s when Scania worked with Mack, and I heard that they were all made by Mack back then. I even have a picture of Scania Mack friendship. No kidding.
Grant Tankers.
Grant Tankers. Oh, are they gone? I hadn't even noticed. Grant Tankers, yeah. They did work for the pulp and paper mills north of here. I wonder if the pulp and paper mills are shut down. Huh. You know what? Now that you mention that, Grilled Mortal, I haven't seen their trucks, so interesting. Chef Matt, tow truck driver. Those guys, Chef Matt, those guys have some dangerous work. I'd be leery of tow truck driving. I know it's dirty. I know it's on call 24/7. I've known guys that have done it and gotten out, but I've known a couple of guys that have damn near gotten crushed to death doing that kind of work too. And they're out in the worst weather and the worst conditions. I don't think I'd recommend that myself anyway. It wouldn't be for me. Michael Mueller says a 16-year-old wants to be a diesel tech. That's like being a software engineer anymore. That's probably a job that would be in demand. The trucks are going to keep coming. If you know how to fix them, there's always going to be a need for good diesel techs, I would think. He may have to transition to be an electric tech here before his career is over, but not yet for a few years. Huh. Cloud Night Table, still want a cab over. Fell in love with those trucks when I was a kid. There's an old cab over Kenworth sitting just south of town here. I'm going to have to go with Kathy and see if we can get some footage of the thing. She's parked in the field, belongs to a friend of mine. I don't know if he has any intention of restoring it or not, but it sure would be a cool old girl. I was looking at it today. It's still got the date and wheels on it. That's how old it is. Used to haul boats at one time, that old truck.
Akis, thank you very much for the $10 donation and the great question that followed with it. Why don't trucks have rear and side cameras? I'm having trouble changing lanes in the rain, in the dark. Even in a small car, please give me some tips on how to do that in a truck other than just be careful. Thank you very much for the 10 beans, by the way, Akis.
That's an excellent question, and frankly, with all the technology that we have today, I'm really surprised that they're not further along with that type of thing and improving the sides and the rear for visibility on big trucks. It's coming, but it's not here yet, and it should be, and I wish they would work harder on it. I used to use a couple of little tricks. I used to use Rain-X on my mirrors to help keep them clean in a rainstorm or something like that. Also in a rainstorm, I would run the mirror heat to try to keep the rain off. And it's, I used to kind of ease partway over and have my window partway down and listen for someone blowing a horn at me, because sometimes the visibility would get so bad you weren't sure if there was a car there or not. So I would turn on my blinker, give lots of warning that I was going to move. Then I would move a little bit partway into the next lane and listen to see, or I would slow down and speed up to see if I could cover that blind spot that my mirror wasn't necessarily picking up. But yeah, cars can hide damn near anywhere. The front right corner again is another spot, and those Dolly Parton mirrors are actually a big help for that. Those hood mounted forward mirrors are a help for that too. But yeah, you're obviously being careful, but you're smart to think about it. You've got to think about it every time you change lanes, because every time you change lanes and sacrifice lane position, you no longer have the right of way. You're in the gray area where if you hit something, they may well blame you. So good question. Good question.
Another part to Akis's question went with an additional donation of $5. Thank you very much for that. Please talk about the narrowest, most impossible highways to drive in the U.S.
Well, there are all sorts of narrow secondary highways. There's hundreds of them down there. A lot of them that come to my mind are in the Appalachians, up like through Virginia and Pennsylvania and through that way. Some of those roads shouldn't even have trucks on them, in my opinion, but they do, because the coal trucks need to run them. But yeah, I always found the Appalachians were bad for not only narrow roads, but narrow, curvy, steep roads. So if you're in the Appalachians, you want to keep that in mind. And if you're not familiar with the roads, travel in the daytime and take it easy rather than at night in a rainstorm or a snowstorm or something like that. But once you get west of the Mississippi, the 2-lane roads improve. They're better. They're straighter. They're longer. But Appalachians, you got to be careful. My trainer, 30 years experience, said he used to drive old trucks with no hood mirrors, but once he drove one with hood mirrors, he said if anyone tried to put him in a truck without them, now he'd refuse. James Stemler said that. Yeah, a lot of those guys really swear by those hood mirrors, and they are a big help. And you can get some really, really good ones. It's the newer ones now don't vibrate. The old ones, the early ones, suffered from vibration because the trucks struck more. But now, yeah, the new ones are pretty steady, and yeah, they're a real serious aid to visibility, especially down the passenger side.
Clouded Nightable, thank you very much for the membership, by the way. Welcome to the Smart Trucking team. We're glad you enjoy the content enough to subscribe like that. Thank you very much.
Shannon's quoting US 550 as a narrow 2-lane road. Shannon, where does that run? I can't recall where that is off the top of my head. Oh, Red Mountain Pass. Yeah, yes. There are some serious challenges along that road. Yes, but pretty country. You've just got to take it really easy. Do it on a nice sunny day and enjoy the view. But yeah, that's a good road. US 61, hilly, curvy, and steep, says John M. Michael Mueller, US 2 between Montana, Havre, Montana, and Kalispell. Oh yeah, yes, I know where you mean. Yeah, that is a piece of road. Boy, it's been years since I've been there. Years. Run around in the PA hills. Some of those 2-lane mountain roads will make or break a driver. That's from Philip Slipper. Yeah, so we were talking about that a minute ago. Yeah, some of those hills up in there and those roads. Some of those guys that run coal up through there, highly skilled boys.
Jeff SoCal Sandman's, and he says the products that he uses.
On his mirrors? I only use Atom polishes, detail spray, tire shine. No, this is not his mirrors, obviously. Wheel polish and ceramic boost. Best stuff ever. Adams stuff is what he likes. That's interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen that. I used to get all my polishes and all that stuff in Iowa, but I'll have to watch for that stuff. Adams. I'll have to go online and see if I can order it. Appreciate that, SoCal Sandman. Appreciate it. I'm always into stuff like that. I'm a bit of a clean freak myself here.
Somebody's a dispatcher and they wanted to know if they were welcome here. Of course they are.
Absolutely they are. Yeah, there's a fella asking, he's a dispatcher asking if he's welcome. I'm saying absolutely. Dispatchers are welcome here, but only the good ones. But I'm sure that's all we'd get. So no, I've known many dispatchers, still friends with many of them. So no, absolutely, you're welcome here. Kathy says we run the bad dispatchers out of town. Shannon says between Durango and Silverton, Colorado, another tough 2-lane. Yep. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Shannon said he drove an old road that was an old stagecoach road.
Oh, really?
No, we've been in situations like that.
Well, there are some back roads in Wyoming for sure.
There was one in Utah. One of the trucks got caught. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I used to, God, Shannon will know where I'm talking about, but I used to I'd go spend the night at Little America, and just past Little America, just west of Little America, there was an old highway up there that cut through up into Pocatello and through the back way, and that was, I love that old road, and I'm not sure it was any faster than going into Salt Lake and north, but I used to like that old road. I'm getting old. I forget the numbers of all the old highways and stuff. James Stemler says, my company specifically told me they encourage us not to take US 219 in New York. James, I'm not familiar with that. Can you tell me where that runs? I'd be interested in where that is.
What was the most dangerous road you drove on?
The most dangerous road I ever drove on was a road in British Columbia. Oh man, what's the name of that town? It's on the coast of BC, well north of Vancouver. Oh, terrible. I can't think of the name of the town now, but it was something like a 15% grade down into the Bella Coola. I took a truck into Bella Coola, British Columbia, years ago, and it's probably the toughest road I've ever been on, and I ended up running into a guy. I got down to the bottom just fine, but it's narrow, it's 2-lane, lots of switchbacks. I got down there okay. I unloaded, but I ran into an Allied Van Lines guy down there that had no Jake brake, and all sorts of trucks back then didn't have a Jake brake. This guy was out of Toronto. He had no Jake brake, and he was so scared. He'd made it down okay, but he said he wasn't driving that truck back out of there. He was waiting for the ferry because he was not going back up that hill. But that I don't know if they've improved that road into Bella Coola now or not. But that was a pretty exciting road. You had to do that road in good weather.
Hamish, thank you very much for the £3. I would love to do ice road trucking in a Pete 359.
Hamish, I got to tell you, if you're going to do ice road trucking, 359 Pete's were really good trucks, but they weren't particularly well insulated. So I'd recommend that you wore a couple of snowmobile suits, one on top of the other, if you're going to go trucking in a 359. But they were good trucks, but they were cold old girls. Hood mirrors are also great for spotting your trailer when setting up or starting on a blindside back. James Stemler. Good advice. Good advice. Oh no, I'm not. Okay. . Kelly says, smart trucking, I hear that. They type at all heights can get death locked. I go through this by averting my eyes to the right, hugging the hill so you cannot see over the edge.
You don't know what he's talking about.
He's talking about narrow, winding mountain roads, right?
I told him when I went over the Hoover Dam, I just about died.
Oh, yes. That was that was a long time ago now. I don't even think they let trucks over the Hoover Dam anymore. But yeah, I remember that, taking her. We unloaded in Vegas, and then we were headed down into Yuma to reload, and we went across the Hoover Dam to go down to Yuma. Lindsay was just little. Have I ever been to the Dallas-Fort Worth area? The road construction everywhere. I do local here. Juan, yeah, I have been down to Dallas-Fort Worth, and more than a few times, and the traffic never ends there, eh? It's just, there's always traffic, and there's always construction. And wasn't it at the top end of Dallas there, they had that ice storm and the multi collision pileup not too long ago, a month or so ago. I think that was going into Dallas Fort Worth. Hell of an accident anyway.
Somebody has posted this a few times, so they want to know the answer. Why did you sell your Kenworth with the Detroit 60? So it's the purple truck. It saw the pictures of it. It was a nice truck.
Why did I sell the purple truck, the Kenworth with the Detroit in it? It was a nice truck, but that bunk was heavy, and I had trouble scaling loads with that truck. It was a heavy truck. Really nice truck otherwise, but the weight of the thing, it was like the Pete that I run now is about 20,000 pounds full of fuel and everything. That truck was 23,000 pounds with fuel and everything on board. So it was purely a weight issue for me. It was a nice truck to drive. Kathy really enjoyed running with me when I had that bunk, but she was a heavy girl, and that was
Not me.
Not Kathy. Not Kathy wasn't the heavy girl. The Kenworth with the big bunk was the heavy girl. My God.
Zach, thank you very much for the $5 donation, my friend. Saving to buy a pre-emissions W900. What's a good minimum balance to have after the purchase?
Say that again. I'm sorry. A good minimum balance in the bank account, you mean?
Saving to buy a pre-emissions W900.
Mm-hmm.
What is a good minimum balance to have after the purchase?
I'd like to see 20 grand left over in the account before you even start going, because you'll run into little things that you'll need to do. So I would say 20,000. That'd be my comfort zone anyway. Somebody asked, oh, here it is. Swift Trainer. What's the furthest north you have ever driven a truck? Fort McMurray, Alberta is the furthest north I've ever been in a truck. And I know you can go a lot further than that. We had Marty Madigan up here that did ice road trucking, and we had him on. But I was nowhere near as far north as what Marty had gone. I don't like the cold that much. Someone is selling a 1979 Kenworth K100 here for $7,000. Those were nice old trucks. You know what? I don't know what year this one that's south of us is. I'm sure it's older than a 79. I'll have to find out, but they were cool old trucks, especially if they had the big double bunks in them. Josh says Denton, Texas is a wild party town. Denton, for those of you that don't know, is just north of Dallas Fort Worth. It's where the Peterbilt factory is, in fact. But I didn't know it was a party town. They used to have an old 76 right there in Denton. I'm sure it's gone now with the loss of the 76 truck stops.
Trucker Hershey said I should have thrown something at you.
Why is that? Oh, you should have. God, man, she knows. She's like 98 pounds dripping wet, and she has been ever since I've known her. So she had to know that I wasn't talking about her. Shannon says, I thought we were going to witness you getting smacked. Well, she says, Shannon, she didn't want to disappoint you. She's volunteering to come over and hit me right now if you want. Oh, God. hauled out of a mine in Mount Shasta National Park. They followed you up to the road with an end loader to give you a push when you spun out, grossing $80,000. That'd be interesting stuff to do. There was this tanker outfit that I worked for at one time, used to haul into southern BC to a mine, and they had acid that they like to truck up to the mine. And what they do is when you spun out, they would hook you from the top with a big wrecker and literally drag the truck up to the mine, up to the top of the mine, and then lower you back down on a hook and a cable again when you were empty. And I never wanted to do that with the truck that I own, but I know my old friend Marty did it a couple times, and he came back and warned me. He says, don't go there, don't go there. And I listened to him. Chase the Master is here. Hey, guys. Hey, Chase, how are you doing? Cat B is here. Trucker Hershey, they're still on this thing about the weight. Trucker Hershey says you should have thrown something at me.
Yeah, I told you I don't want to disappoint these people.
Well, go ahead. I'll go get it. Let me grab a hard hat real quick here. Yeah, just like Kat had to fix the Pete while Dave had a DQ burger and took a nap.
I put that picture up of me pulling the hood, and I said, yeah, I was fixing the truck.
Sounds just like a typical weekday, to be honest with you.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Another day in the life.
Raphael with the $2 donation. So how many companies are getting away deleting death? Yeah.
Really good question, and everyone is all of a sudden jumping off that bandwagon about doing the deletes. It was a popular thing to do, and then just in the past year, the EPA, which is a federal body, has announced that they're going to start cracking down. So it's not just going to be California anymore, and various states are jumping on board with this. Like I believe New Jersey's one of them, for instance, and they're going to start enforcing EPA rules, federal emissions rules. So everyone sat up and took notice when that announcement came out, and all of a sudden these delete death programs have stopped, because not only do they fine the truck, they fine the shop that did the delete, and it's big money. So all of a sudden no one's doing that anymore. Good question, Raphael. My dad used to use D8 bulldozers to pull logging trucks up in the roads in wintertime and then back down again after loading Kelly Patterson. Kelly, I got dragged one time by a D9 up the Rogers Pass into between Golden and Revelstoke, BC, and the hill avalanched on me when I was partway up and buried me up to the axles. And they sent this D9 out of Revelstoke, BC. And I was buried up to the axles. I had a B train on. I was grossing 110,000 pounds. This thing hooked up to me and just walked away and walked the thing up the hill. 8% grade, 110,000 pounds, buried in snow. It had no trouble at all with me. It was incredible, the power that thing had. I had no idea. KW900 or Pete 379. I heard that the KWs are heavier, but they have more stable and pull better. They are heavier. The KW is heavier. As to whether they're more stable and they pull better, I'd say that's a cross. I've owned both. I'd say they're about neck and neck for that. But the Pete is definitely lighter, more aluminum. For instance, the W9 has a fiberglass hood. Pete's got an aluminum hood. There's hundreds of pounds of difference right there, just in the hood alone.
Hamish wants to know what model of Western Star cab over you drove in the 70s, but I think he's got that mixed.
Yeah, Hamish, I didn't drive a cab over Western Star. I drove a cab over Freightliner in the 70s.
And you did drive a Western Star.
And I did drive a Western Star, but it was a conventional. And I picked it up new at the factory, and it was a beautiful truck. But no, I never drove one of their cab overs. They made cab overs, but I was never in one. Shannon says, that was the nice thing about delivering to remote job sites. There was always a piece of equipment to help pull you in or out. Yeah. Although, Shannon, I bet you were always glad it was a company truck rather than your own. Some of those guys can be a little tough when they're pulling you out of the mud or the snow. Daniel Meredith. Hey, Daniel. Driving through back alleys between buildings and trying to back up or tight turns can test you as a driver. Isn't that the truth? And there are some of those guys, I've seen some of those guys in those downtown spots, and I just marvel at the skill that they have. Some of those guys make it look simple, and there's nothing simple about that kind of maneuvering. Like downtown city work is tough work. I never wanted to do that, never did do it, but some of those guys are very, very good drivers. So Cal Sandman says, what model Western Star did you drive in the 50s? Oh no, he's questioning somebody else that said that, but geez, I'm not that old. Although some days I feel that old. Thanks for sticking up for me there, SoCal. But yeah, I'm not quite there yet. I didn't start driving trucks until the 70s. Is that right? Yeah, early 70s. Took your advice and paid off. And it paid off. Got off the road now doing local dump truck work with a W9, making 5 times more. Thank you. That's from Luke. Luke, glad it worked out for you, man. Glad that the advice worked for you. Appreciate you saying so. Colorado says, worst place I ever delivered was downtown Baltimore. Yeah, God, some of those eastern seaboard cities are just nightmares to get around in with a big truck. You think about those guys down there dragging around 53-foot trailers. I don't know how the hell they do it. But yeah, there's some. Inner city delivery can be an absolute nightmare. Nothing I ever wanted to try. Kelly Batterson talking about the D9s. D9s are a beast. And geez, they make like D12s and stuff now, I think. Amazing the power those things have. Michael Mueller, fun fact, do you guys know that the Niagara Falls move back 3 feet every year due to erosion? I'm going back because I'm at the bottom. Good afternoon from Iowa, from Riley. Hey, Riley, good afternoon. Hamish K says, I wasn't even around in the 70s.
All right, Chad, that'll about do it for us this afternoon. His drugs are starting to wear off, so better cut it now.
Wow.
I want to thank everyone for coming out this afternoon, participating in the chat. Don't forget, if you like what you saw here today, be sure to be following us if you're not already. Be checking out this Friday's video, which is, what do we have for this Friday's video? It'll be a stream highlight this week on, what is it?
On Def Engines.
Def Engines. It'll be a stream highlight for Def Engines this week. And then our next week's upload, which is the one that I was thinking of originally, is going to be on.
Oh, tell them about the other one you're working on right now.
Is going to be on.
Take it away, Dave.
It slips my mind. What's it on?
Why I hate.
Why I hate the emissions engines. So that should be a good one. I go into a bit of a rant on that, but yes, that's the one video is going to be why I hate the emissions engines. Before we go, I just want to thank everyone for coming to these streams. I want to thank the regular guys that show up, and I want to thank the new guys that join because we really appreciate all of it. We look forward to these live streams every week. It's a big deal for us, and we're always happy when you guys join us and pile in and chat, and I love going back and forth with you guys. So thank you everyone. Take care, stay safe, keep the rubber side down, have a good week. We'll see you on the back haul. Good night.